So hello again, this is author Nathaniel Sewell. As I've said, that's my pen name. This is my continuing brief series about talking about my novels. The theme, the title of the book, novel, how did I come up with that, and the book cover. I always think the book cover is kind of interesting because it almost is supposed to tell the story without telling the story. So I try to follow that process best I can. So those are three elements I want to talk about. This is my probably the toughest book I've ever written. It's called Bobby's Socks. Now, I should tell you the underlying theme is about child sex abuse and the science of epigenetics, and they're linking genetic instructions to young adult suicide. The backstory, of course, is that I'm one of those kids. I grew up, I'm 59 now, so I'm thankfully gotten pretty far down the road, as I say, but when I was in my teens and 20s, it was pretty rough. I write about it on my website when I go to the About section. That really is my friend, that picture of me and my buddy of 50 years in junior, I think we're in ninth grade, junior high. So it's sort of weird to see that, but at any rate, I've told the story. What really kind of inspired the story is I sold a business and I stayed with it for a few years, and then I read an article on behalf of a client who I was trying to help out to find medical malpractice insurance. Anyway, I found an article, and it was about the so-called suicide gene and the connection to child sex abuse. I actually have a link to the original article on my web page in the About section if you want to read it. I warn you, it's troubling, but that goes back to 2008, so that's how long this has all been going on. So, if you think about it, the theme being what it is, it's your gene instructions. It's how your brain sometimes lies to you. Trauma has a very disastrous effect on the young brain, and it can cause you to be hypersexual or hypo. I happen to be a little hypo, and I was very, very skittish. I'm sure I left a lot of girls confused. But then there's the other side to that equation where you're compulsive. It's one or the other, is my understanding. Regardless, the underlying theme was how Bobby dealt with it, how he got help, and they track down a predator. They do. Now, I made all that up. That's all fiction. It's not really what happened to me. But the feelings and what was going on in that is very much in line with my life. And I wrote it to help somebody else who feels the same way. And I can't tell you how many times I've had people tell me that. Hey, that's how I felt. I've had many people tell me their story, and they're oddly similar. So that's the basic theme of Bobby Socks. It's also the reason I use a nom de plume, a pen name. I explained that in another video if you'd like to watch that. And it's a sad story to me because it goes on every day. They're saying it's something in 1 in 4 kids before they reach the age of 18. Think about that, and then extrapolate that over the population year after year, decade after decade. No wonder we have a problem. Well, as the book cover, I'll show you the recent book cover. I republished it because the first book cover, which I'll show you, was a little scary. The second book cover, well, it's a little softer. The whole metaphor is to walk in someone's shoes, in this case, to walk in their socks. Also, you'll note that they're like these, colorful warm socks, and these socks are made of strands of yarn. If you think about it, your body is strands of DNA, and that's where I came up with the book cover and the book title. Literally, it's Bobby's Socks. In the book, the psychiatrist does diagnose warm socks to get him to kind of laugh do something weird, which I think is great in that sense. It kind of relieves things. It's not a graphic book at all, by the way. I challenged myself to not have anything graphic in it. It's not, but it is scary. The book cover kind of speaks for itself, and I think that is why I decided that from a nudging from the marketing team, just get on YouTube and just talk about my books. And I'll respond to people. If you want a free copy of Bobby Socks, I give away a lot of books, just because it's a passion for me more than anything. And they're never going to make Bobby Socks into a movie. I can guarantee you that. But anyway, I wanted to come on, just kind of talk real briefly about that book, about that novel. And again, I hope you like my videos. I'm going to come back and talk about a couple more. And then I'm going to start talking about the back of the book. It's really interesting in terms of how you come up with the back of the book for a novel. It's a little bit there's a model to it that they follow. But regardless, it's kind of interesting to be able to go through the back of the book and kind of talk about the highlights of what's going on in that book. So regardless, thank you for watching and listening this far, and we'll talk soon.